Hello, and welcome to Trailblazer MTG. I am Paul, or Prop, and in this video we have the first match of the inaugural Trailblazer Asynchronous League for February 2026. I will be playing Azorius Flash, which you can find a link to in the description, and I'll also link to my deck tech video that was posted previously. My opponent will be playing Green-White Idiots, which is their name for it and not a value judgment, and I will be taking a quick look at their deck before going into the match. And here's their deck. As we can see from the creature count, it's very creature heavy. A lot of very small creatures. We are looking at quite a number of 1 and 2 drops, a few 3s, and then the top end of this is really just Bright Glass, Ouroboride, and Questing Beast. So they are looking to get creatures into play early. We have token generators, we have some hate pieces with the Cankerbloom, and the Thalia Guardian of Thraben. We also have things that are hard to deal with, like Frenzied Baloth, Adanta Vanguard, and some good value 3s, Surak, Brutal Cathar, Sentinel in the Name of City, Skyclave as a XL target. So they're looking to go underneath and really put on a lot of pressure early in the match. In the Planeswalkers, we have 2 Elspeths, the token generating, the token doubler Elspeth, and the 4 mana, slightly lower to the ground, but still very strong Elspeth, and then Garruk as a second token, another token generator that can also make some of these cheaper creatures a lot bigger to push damage. As far as the sorceries, we got a fight spell. We have a pseudo Wrath, Wrath that can save their biggest creature and exile and put everything else in timeout, which can hopefully help them push for the win. Finale of Devastation, which obviously goes and finds Bright Glass, Ouroboride, or whatever they need at the time with mana available. 2 modal double-faced lands. Obviously, Turn Timber Symbiosis is good in this deck. Mirror's Call just generates a couple of tokens. 4/4 Angels, really powerful. Removal, they got March, Fateful Absence, Get Lost. We also have Selesnya for the bigger creature removal. I don't have a ton of big creatures, apart from my Crab, Serpent, and Oculus, but if it's dead, it can still buff or create another token. Shadowspear for some more life game, Shelter by Ghosts for another removal spell, and despite being fairly low to the ground, they're still on 39 lands, which is about the same count as me. I have Bellion, which is kind of a pseudo land, which is why I'm willing to be down at 39, despite probably needing a lot more mana in my deck than my opponent. We also have Soulstone Sanctuary for a creature land. No other. We have Crawling Barrens as well. No colored creature lands in here that I can see, unless I'm missing something. Also, Air Temple to buff creatures. Beseiju, which can deal with artifacts and enchantments, and that's about it. They got the Temple, which is maybe a little slower, but I think that's fine. So yeah, they're looking to go fast, get underneath, get out ahead before I'm able to counterspell. So I think my strategy, if I cannot counter or kill some of their early threats, is to really hope I'm able to find one of my Wrath the board, and take over from there before they get out of hand. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to this, and yeah, I will be getting into the match, so I'll see you soon. We're about to get into the game. So let's play and see how things go. So we've lost the die roll, so rep already, I guess. Okay, let's look at this opening hand. We have a Syncopate and a Get Lost and a Fairy Mastermind all at 2. Obviously Syncopate's an X spell. We do have blue and a white. We have the Fairy Mastermind, and if we hit 3 we have both Teferi and Stock up. I think this is pretty good to get under there any early threat, hopefully get a counter spell, and then hopefully start to develop from there. So I'm going to keep this. Okay, Shadow Spear on 1 isn't too bad. It's not a creature. I'm going to have this enter tapped. Longriff's Pool's a little awkward because I don't have the double blue. But this is a mostly blue deck, so hopefully that will help us out. I think they are low to the ground. I am going to hold up and potentially kill or counter whatever they play. I think that's okay, because they'll probably equip it with a Shadow Spear and then I can kill it in response. So there's New Charm with the 2/2 option. Alright, yep, this is what we wanted. Now we just gotta hope we draw a land, and we'll be in business. They have the 2 map tokens, but no creatures to target it with. That is a little awkward. I think our best hope is they draw a spell, and we can flash in a Fairy Mastermind. But let's see where we go. I can also still Syncopate their next spell, if needed. Assuming they tap out for it. Unlikely at this, but if this is an early Bright Glass, then this is going to be a good gotcha. They may have kept on the back of this early action and into Bright Glass. That is not ideal. However, on its own, it does not survive, and if they make it bigger, I can chop it down, assuming I draw another land. Okay. That's the Pal Collector, so now Giant Killer can get it if we draw the land we're looking for. We can also just a Fairy and bounce. That is an option. They have 2 cards in hand. They bind the Pelt Collector. Let's swing first. And then I think, yeah, I'm going to Teferi and bounce their Tyvar. Get to draw a card. Okay, and we drew another land. So now we're pretty good. We're pretty good on lands. We can play basically everything in our hand. They're down to 4 cards. Again, we have a kill spell for anything that they make slightly bigger. That's 4. We also have counters and ways to refill and get some card selection. So, feeling in a good, decent spot. Okay, replaying the Tyvar, that makes sense. I wonder if they're going to try and suit it up or map it up. They're looking at this Teferi. I'm wondering if they have a kill spell for it. I'm tapped out, so if they have a kill spell, this is the best time to do it, because obviously they can't fight at instant speed. Yeah, there we go. I think that's perfectly fine for where we're at. I'm going to play this untapped. Because it gives us multiple options. I'm actually just going to attack. And if they suit up with the Shadow Spear, once it's on, I will kill it with the Giant Killer. Oh, now they've done that, if they... Okay, they hit a land from that, that's fine. Crawling Barrens. 4 mana, not going to be all that useful right now. Okay, so we let this resolve. Okay, they don't have another creature. So... let's kill this in response. Okay, so they've got a demi. That is a nice little play they've got there. Was not expecting that. But that's why they killed the Teferi, to have that gotcha. Okay. At least we didn't take a hit from the Tyvar. This will allow me to tap it down. But I think at this point, getting a stock up, which will hopefully, let's see what it gets me. I should hopefully find a land. Well, I found a land. I did not find much else. So, while I do want this Field of Ruin for their Crawling Barrens, I think I need the blue-white for my counter options. I could take both. Yeah, because that gets me, and then I can Teferi or Dominaria next turn. So let me just play the island and pass. Yes, I might take some. I'm gonna swing with this because I'm not blocking. Okay. So they can boot up the Crawling Barrens. That will mean I'm taking potentially 9 damage. They're gaining 4. Really hoping to find a Wrath effect or another removal spell. That would be great. If they try and play anything, I'm going to just pull or syncopate it, or Domin's Veto if needed, if it's a non-creature. Okay, taking 8. Yeah, that's okay. I think at this point, let's see. Hexproof and Indestructible is a little awkward. I think what I'm going to have to do it's only indestructible. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play the Teferi. If I draw a card and untap 2 lands, what does that do for me? Nothing, because they really have. I think I'm going to have to do this and force them to sack the Ademi. Oh, they let it resolve. Well, in that case, I think with nothing else to do, I can play this giant killer. And they can give a demi flying, but I can take be taking 4. I think. No, I'm not. I'm going to hold this back. Assuming that the ferry can survive, I will be able to put a Get Lost on top to get rid of whatever is played. Okay, Quirion Beastcaller and a Brutal Cathar. Okay, that is... So now I am really looking for a Wrath. They are Hellbent. They've got 2 more draws. Okay, that is not what I needed. I can tap down their beast caller. Or whatever has the Shadow Spear on it. I can I think the Ademi means that the Get Lost is not all that useful. Especially because it protects everything. I'm going to play this for its white side because I have plenty of blue mana. I have Long River's Pull mana. I don't have Long River and Syncopate, but they're only drawing 1 spell. So I think I am going to see what I hit here. I got the Flooded Strand. I think I need to keep Field of Ruin mana up for the Crawling Barrens. No, I don't think I do. I'm actually going to tap it and do this again. This way, if they jump a Demi, I can block. Well, that is staying on top. So now they know the Doomscar's coming. They can obviously save a Demi with the, or sack a Demi to save the rest of the board. Which means okay, so they are booting up the Barons. I tapped the Field of Ruin, so I'm taking 2 from that. I'm gonna tap this down. Because if they want to attack with the Demi, a Demi I will trade for it. If they want to attack with the Brutal Cathar, but I can take 2 from that. That's fine. So I have 3 islands. If I play that, I can put the Get Lost on top. Because right now this Doomscar's not killing anything. I can tap down the Beastcaller again. The thing is, once Tyvar hits the field, the Doomscar's also not that great. Because they just tap a creature to make Tyvar indestructible. However, I can counter Tyvar. That's fine. If I pay retail for this, so if I Doomscar, they sack a Demi. These two survive. I then counter Tyvar. I block the Brute with the Giant Killer. I block the Beast Caller with the Unwelcome Sprite. And I take 2. I can then Field of Ruin the Brute, get the Fairy Mastermind back, and hopefully get back on track from there. In fact, I can put the Doomscar back on top, which is actually kind of interesting, and maybe what I should do. Let's see. Yep, let that resolve. I didn't think about that. That was a big misplay from me. So now I am going to take 3, 6, 10. Turns out wraths are not one-sided. But there we have it. Okay. Mistakes were made. I have never claimed that I was a great Magic player. I am definitely still learning. I definitely still make mistakes like that. So here we go into game 2. I'll be on the play. Now, this is not even really a splash color. This is really just a fetch target for a late Surveil, so that does not help me. The spell snap for a 2-drop, they have plenty of 2-drops. Treasure Cruit, this is unfortunately, I don't think, a keep. I could have a turn 2 star charts, which is really not where you want to be with that card. So I think I'm going to mulligan. Still slightly awkward, but I have Floodmore. I can demo field for a planes if I need it. Although I think the Mind Sensor's going down because the Supreme Verdict is the best, is a very good Wrath, which I want to keep in hand. So I might get punished for this, but I think this is the right decision. I'm going to lead on Island. I have the tempo play of the Floodmore. Ooh, and I have Teferi. That's not ideal with having no white available, but I think this is fine. Untapped white source would be great here. Hopefully, and if it's a tapped white source, I can potentially bounce whatever they play. And we'll go from there. Okay, so we got the white source. That's great. I think the best play here is to bounce draw. Just keep the tempo. Keep them off the tempo. Okay. So now I can actually demo field for a second white, which will give me the access to the Supreme Verdict. I have the Floodmore for if they monstrous the Fleece Mane. So let's see where we go from here. Actually being able to instant speed Supreme Verdict is also very strong, if Teferi survives. Okay, I'm just replaying the Fleece Mane. Ooh, and the horned lock whale. I think I play the demo field here. I don't need the extra blue, but being able to.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
I mean, I can't cast the Supreme Verdict at instant speed this turn, but I can also horned lock and flood more if needed. Okay, opponent's hitting their land drops. Ah, Luminarch Aspirant. Okay, so I think this is good. They're probably gonna boot up the Fleece main line. Make that a 4/4. Unless they may also have a second spell. Okay, so yep. On the Fleece main. What I may actually do for the Connive trigger is bounce the Fleece man on attacks and then bounce the Luminarch Aspirant at the end of turn. Because while I have the Supreme Verdict, I'm not in a particular hurry to play it. I think the Connive trigger, being able to keep ticking this Teferi up for the tempo is going to be what I'm looking for. Opponent definitely thinking about how they want to attack. They're probably concerned because I went shields down with a Ledger Shredder, what I possibly could have, and so that's why Horned Lock. If they have a hexproof spell, nope, okay, it's on top. That's good for me. Okay, so they're killing the Teferi. That's fine. I think this Johari Disruption is not doing what I want. They've probably got more than enough mana right now, and it bumps the Ledger Shredder. I get to investigate, and I'm going to crack this immediately. Draw a card, because I don't have anything else to do with that mana. Oh, okay, so starting to flood a little here. Let's play the plains for the second white. I now have Supreme Verdict online, not that I particularly need it. So let's attack and pass the turn. One thing that this deck does do is it provides a lot of mental stack for your opponents. They have to decide what they're doing into 5 open mana. I can actually flash this in next turn, or maybe just play it on my turn. Although I should probably wait until they develop to the board in Supreme Verdict. We're ahead on life. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So they're targeting the Luminarch Aspirant. I'm actually going to bounce this in response, so they don't get the Adeline attack trigger. And I'm going to hold the Demolition Field for a creature land. Okay, Spellcaller, also very good against their deck. They do not have a lot of spells above 4, so yep. However, if they're going to double spell creatures, it might be a good time to hold on for this. If they play something big, especially like a Bright Glass Gearhulk, I am definitely going to be quelling that, because I think if I do that, I am well ahead of the game and won't be scared about needing to Supreme Verdict. Okay, taking 3 here is absolutely fine. They probably don't want a double spell to trigger my Ledger Shredder. But let's see. Okay, they have. That's good for me. I'll let this resolve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think I need to hit 7 lands just yet. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go to my turn. I think I am going to attack. I am going to Supreme Verdict. Kill everything. Play this island, and then I will have Malcolm into Horned Lockwhale with Spell Queller. Hopefully I ran them out of a lot of what their gas is. Night of Autumn. That's actually fine. They're probably going to make it bigger. Yep. That's okay. I'm going to flash in as Malcolm. This Horned Lockwhale will win, is going to hold the Night of Autumn back fairly well. Okay, they're shocking in. Do they have another... They have a kill spell for the Malcolm? Because that is also fine. We have follow-ups. March. Okay. Perfectly fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I consult for 4, and I think doing this on my turn, and I think the Demolition Field. Okay, so I have... So I don't think I need more lands right now, although the Surveil might be useful. I think the Iceberg, very strong, being able to flash in and exile, and I think Impulse for a little more cards. The Brazen Warrior could be useful, but I don't particularly want to bounce the Night of Autumn. I think the best option is to take the Impulse. And I can pass. So now I can Iceberg the Knight, Spell Queller, anything they cast that's not a 5-mana Planeswalker. And let's see. They are in green, so they might have... They might have enchantment removal. More so than, I mean, this is one of their enchantment removals, so getting it under the enchantment is actually pretty useful. Glenlendra, very useful. They don't have a lot of non-creature spells. I'm actually going to Impulse on my turn. Let's see what we can, because we might have a... Ooh, let's see. We have 7 cards in the... I don't think any of these others are going to be as useful as the Treasure Cruise, so let's take the Cruise. Let's 2, 3, 4. I don't really have any Graveyard Recursion, but I'll leave the Supreme Verdict. Wait. Yeah, I'll leave the Supreme Verdict in there. Because I do have access to, if I grab a fetch land, I have access to Mystical Sanctuary to put Verdict or Cruise back on top. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 mana, only 1 blue, which is a little awkward, but they're down to 1 card in hand. I think we are in a good spot here to pass the turn. With this amount of mana, the No More Lies is probably not that useful. I don't think Malira on her own is all that useful. I think I'm going to let this resolve, especially with being able to get the whale out. And if that's all they're doing, I can then flash in this Glenlendra at the end of turn. And then my turn. Okay, so I'm going to be attacking. And passing. Okay, if they are making her bigger, this is probably their entire plan. But I think with what I have here, I win the race here. I can also, if they don't play a creature land here, probably kill the Air Temple, which at most will make this a 5/5, and then the whale beats it clean. Okay, so they are planning to race. Cankerbloom. They have 4 mana available. I think I spellcraft this. And when they pass to end of turn, I think I'm going to Demolition Field the... oh, maybe... Yes, I probably still can. They have 2 mana available, so the No More Lies is the right play here. Okay, and they scoop to that. That's pretty good. Okay, so that was a much better game. For me, didn't make the big mistake with the Doomscar, with the Wrath, but we go to game 3. These have been very interesting games. I do like opponent's deck. This is very much a mulligan. 1 colorless land is not going to be doing it for me. Okay, fast land, then a Ganjo. That gives me Spell Snare, Doving's Veto. Yeah, I think I keep all of these. I think this Sword Coming is actually what goes away. I don't think I'm going to want to take a turn off to foretell it. Although they may think it's... Actually, you know what? They don't have a lot of non-creature spells. I'm going to get rid of this Dovin's Veto. I don't think that's doing what I need. Alright, play the Secret Room Coast. Hopefully they cast a 2-drop. Really nice trade up. Fetching immediately is a good sign. They actually topped the Surveil for the Lush Portico, so we'll see what... Okay. Oh, yeah. One of the best 2-drops to Spell Snare. Amazing. I don't have any need for double... you know what? I don't have any white, so let's play the double blue and pass. I'm not going to foretell this. I'd rather have the Malcolm as an air option. Hopefully get some loots in off him. Get me up to 4 mana. Scroll isn't a concern right now. Let's flash this in and see whether they have a kill spell for it. They do not right now. Okay, so first up I'm going to attack. See what I draw. Hallowed Fountain, very good. I think this is an interesting call. I think it's going to be the Opt because I'm able to get this on curve. I do want to be able to counter anything bigger that they do, which I'll be able to do if I shock this in and just hold this up, and I can also consult for 3. So I think that's the right call. I'm going to pay 2 life and pass the turn. I can also Ganjo if I really need to. If they attack with Scrolve, that might actually be a very good call, so that they're not able to use this as a mum alternate. With that in mind, I think I'm actually going to counter this. It's kind of a big creature. I don't want to be. If they don't have a creature to protect, they can't protect it. Okay, I'm going to probably get a little aggressive here and flash this in. I want the Curiosity draw first. Ooh, Oculus is nice. What do I have? 3. I have plenty of islands. I'm gonna pitch this island. This also holds back Skralv if they want to use it as an attacker. Skyclave. That deals with the Enduring Apparition. So I think at this point, I am going to. I'm just going to attack again because nothing they do has flying. Let's see what I draw and discard. Ooh, Teferi. I think the Zaganjo goes at this point. If I Teferi and bounce the Skralv, they just kill it. If I bounce the Apparition, they play it and get rid of the Malcolm. So, do I want anything from the Mystic Sanctuary? I don't believe I do, but I should play it anyway. You know what? I'm going to put the Sword Coming back on top because I can consult and Sword Coming at instant speed if they play something scary. If they don't, then we'll see. Also, if I consult and see something else that I prefer, I can also just take that, like a Wrath. Wrath would be very useful. It would allow me to develop my Oculus. Yeah, Voice of Resurgence is a pretty good creature. I cast all of my spells on my opponent's turn, so I don't think that is going to be all that good for me. So let's consult. Yeah, I'm going to take the Sword Coming and then counter it. They might kill them. If they kill the Malcolm, that's okay. Okay, wow, that's a the big swing. If I Teferi, I can bounce this and draw a card, but then it dies to the... Or I can flood more this back to hand. I can do that in response to the... or, honestly, I think at this point, my best option is to just Oki. And pass. If I bounce the Scrolf here, it will... Yeah, I think... I'm going to do that more aggressively. I think that's a... So now I'm going to take the Laser Shredder. Okay, March. So I can't march the Skyclave. I can Teferi bounce it, but that's not really that useful. I can march the Skyclave if I exile the Teferi from my hand. I think that might be the best play, because then I just have Oculus in the air. So, X is 3, exiling this. Actually, Shelter by Ghost is a 2. That is actually... Yeah, let's do that. So, we're going to... target the Shelter by Ghosts. And then we're going to attack with the Oki. See what we get here. Not ideal. If they map the Sentinel, it becomes a 5. It makes it a little 4-5. Okay, so they got the Badger Mole. So this is something I found. The second spell only works if this has already been turned up. You can't turn it face up in response. So I'm actually going to turn this face up now because I don't have anything else to do, and it might disincentivize them from casting a second spell, even though they have the mana. And yes, it costs me being able to kill the Sentinel with my face down cards, but that would have been trading the Shredder anyway. They can make it unblockable with Scrolv if they choose to. Let's see what they hit. They hit Stonecoil Serpent. Okay. X spell. I can triple block and kill it. But I'm hitting for 5, 6, 7, 8 in the air next turn. So I think that's fine. if I draw something that means I double spell, then I win the game. Oh, assuming I don't draw a land. That's fair. That's... Well, let's... Riddler. Draw 2 cards. Then let's Teferi. It's going to connive. I'm going to discard the Spell Queller to get a... And then I am going to attack for lethal in the air. And that is GG's. That was a really tight, close game, I think. I think it was fairly back and forth. But I got the 2-1 victory, and I will be back shortly with a bit of a post-mortem. So, back here with my deck list. What did I learn from that game, that match? I think in game 1, the Ademi into the Giant Killer chop down was really a bit of a blowout, especially because the Tyvar allowed them to play and get the Indestructible without having to sack the Ademi. Obviously, I chose to Teferi and bounce rather than chop down when they were tapped out. I think the tempo and the draw, especially being stuck on mana, was probably the right call in the vacuum. Obviously, they had the kill spell for the Teferi, and then were able to hold mana up for the Ademi Flash. I think after that point, I kind of locked in on finding a Wrath. However, I think a couple of turns earlier, when I had the Mystic Sanctuary and 3 islands, I should have played those, got the get lost, especially with the Tyvar a couple of turns away, killed the Ademi, or at least forced them to sack the Ademi, trying to kill something like the Brutal Cathar. That means when the Wrath came through, I would have had the ability to Wrath the Cathar and the Beastcaller, and then potentially from there, I might have been able to claw my way back into the game. Especially considering I've probably been able to do that and counter the Tyvar on the way down, or at least survive long enough that I could counter the Tyvar and Wrath a turn afterwards. So I think locking in on the Wrath at a time when they had a creature that could protect was a mistake. But with keeping 2 lands, not drawing a third for a couple of turns, did put me on the back foot. I think the deck showed that it can fight back from those positions. There's plenty of draw spells, there's plenty of ways to disrupt the opponent, even if it's just tempo bouncing, which is not always the most powerful. But I think in that matchup, with the amount of draw spells I have compared to them, their deck, I was able to stay on top of it. I think Game 2 and Game 3 were interesting, grindy matchups. I was fortunate with some of the draws. Obviously, keeping an all-blue hand with a double-white spell for Supreme Verdict was possibly a little risky, but I had some pressure with the Shredder. I had tempo with the Floodmore. I was able to kind of get going early, and the deck does have plenty of ways to generate white mana. I was fortunate with some of the draws, especially the early Henchgate, having the demo field online if I really needed the white early. Drawing the Hornlock Whale was really nice, being able to get that double tempo on turn 4. I think after the Supreme Verdict into having the Consult, the Impulse, Spell Queller options, I was able to really kind of just take over the game with my card selection and prevent them from doing what they wanted, and I was able to just grind out a victory. Game 3, again, I 2-land hand on the draw. The spell snare was huge. If that Thalia resolves, I'm really in trouble. I'm really on the back foot, even with the Amalgam to play. The Skrelv did make some difficult decision making because of the protection, and the sheltered up Skyclave was definitely a challenge. But being able to get rid of the Shelter by Ghosts, stop the Voice of Resurgence coming down, considering my deck runs almost completely on opposition's turn, and then having the Oculus just be able to punch in the Quantum Riddler. I mean, I have plenty of draw spells, but the Quantum Riddler, drawing 2 cards, having a non-land land card in hand, so that the Connive trigger from the Teferi after the Quantum Riddler was guaranteed to get me lethal was really neat, really nice. All in all, I think that it was a very fun match. I want to say GG's to my opponent. If they listen to this, watch this video, and we'll see what happens in the next round. Just to do all the YouTube things, if you enjoyed this video, please drop it a like. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I will be back with my next round probably fairly shortly. Anyway, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.